All right, everybody, welcome. It's Sunday afternoon around 4:30 Central if you're watching us live. Welcome to the Atheist Experience. There are some people who thought there wouldn't be a show today, but we are unstoppable, uncancelable. We are just a force of nature. And by the way, over the last week, folks in the Austin area and in Texas in general went through the worst and most freakish winter storm in history, as far as we can tell. Freezing temperatures for a week, pipes bursting, power outages, just way too much. And what I want to say is that behind the scenes, I couldn't have been more proud and more happy, even though I was miserable. I never lost power at my house, and I kept wanting anybody who didn't have power to come over, but there was 2 inches of ice in front of my place and nobody could get out. And Dan will have a story about that in just a moment. But the people in the atheist community of Austin got together and were making sure, hey, are you okay? Do you have power? Do you have water? You know, can we do this? Who's got a vehicle that can get to somebody? Can we get somebody where there's power? And while some people were like, you know, Mark Vanderbrink, I think, was out of power for like 55 hours, but he was fortunate enough to have a fireplace. And so I remember him saying he was playing Stratego with his brother, next to the fire. Austin is, I don't know, it's like closing in on 65, 70 degrees, something, who knows? It's warm. Almost all the snow is gone. And yet there's a lot to recover. Austin as a city is still on boil water notice because pipes froze, there's cross-contamination, and the water that's coming out of your pipes, if you have it, may not be safe to drink. So please, if you're in the Austin area, continue to do that and check on that. If you are elsewhere, make sure you check what your city's doing and whether or not you need to be boiling your water or taking care if you're, in the broader Texas. And as a reminder, we have crossed the line where 500,000 Americans have now died of COVID. Let's not forget that in addition to having this freak winter storm, we are still in the middle of a global pandemic. And while the infection rate and death rate are dropping, they're still really high. And so keep wearing a mask, keep following the guidelines, look into vaccinations in your area. This week, joining me from Truth Wanted, ObjectivelyDan. How are you, Dan?
Hey, I'm doing good. Yeah, I had was not so fortunate as you in terms of my power situation. My apartment was out of power for at least 4 days. And the first day was that Monday this past week, and didn't have power the whole day. Realized, I got to stay here tonight. I'm an Eagle Scout. I can handle it. It was fine. I stayed the night. It was like 9 degrees, but it was just gonna be for one night. That was fine. Then the next day, still didn't have any power, and that was pretty bad. Now you are actually, in terms of the ACA, are like the closest person to me. We're kind of close, relatively speaking, in Austin terms. We're neighbors. We're like 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
And I tried to get to your place 2 different times, but I could not get my car up the hill. I'm at like an intersection of like 3 different hills converging on each other, and I could not get my little sedan up there. And I finally escaped. I got up to I-35, and I stayed a week at Genetically Modified Skeptic's house, actually, because I-35 was a bit better to get there than to get to where you were at. But yeah, it was pretty brutal. I did not get back to my place until Friday, just in time for Truth Wanted. But yeah, it was really, really brutal out here. I saw families, parents with their kids out on the front porch with grills and propane stoves because it was warmer to be outside with the propane stove than it was to be inside the buildings here. Because, in Texas, we're not really used to that level of sort of winter stormage. Yeah. I saw lots of cars hitting each other and stuff. Lots of slipping and sliding. But it was pretty bad. And there's still ongoing effects of that. I had like a stuffed up nose like the whole week that I'm just now recovered from, I think. But yeah, it's pretty bad. So thank you guys for being so kind and sending your warm wishes to us. But the ACA, we pulled through. We're doing all right now. So
there were people living in their cars and all kinds of stuff. I have friends in Fort Worth who I need to call in and check on. Although, Karen, if you're listening, you can just text me, let me know if you got power, because as of last night when I called them, they had been out without power since Monday. and they relied on some friends. Also, there's I think the Texas Attorney General needs to get busy investigating, because there are some people who received like $4, $5, $6, $9, and $12,000 electric bills for the 5 days where they whatever deregulated electrical organization they're paying for their electricity decided to increase the rates because demand went up, and they increased it to a redonkulous level. So for 5 days to have a $6,000 to $12,000 electric bill, that's criminal. And that business, if they ever, if they're trying to actually collect, it may be that it's legal, like, oh, well, you signed up for this and you signed up for variable rates, and this is just that once in a lifetime thing. But a once in a lifetime thing shouldn't render anybody dead. And there's people whose life savings has, $16,000 more than my life savings. I don't know about anybody else, but I couldn't pay an electric bill that came in at that much. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening. Let me get through the regular announcement-y things here, and that is, hey, everybody, if you're watching us live on YouTube, directly up above the chat, which I know you're all interested in the chat, and by the way, if you're not that interested in chat, just go ahead and be a dick to one of the moderators. We'll fix that problem for you. I saw somebody say that or something similar a minute ago. But up above that is a donate link. 100% of your donations go directly to the atheist community of Austin. They don't pass go. Google and YouTube don't collect any money at all out of that. In addition, you can become a member on YouTube, and that membership will give you special icons and emojis and whatever else. That's good. You can also go to patreon.com/The Atheist Experience and support us there. And for the people who just are interested in communicating with like-minded individuals, in addition to the Discord, we also have the Atheist Experience Facebook group, the Atheist Experience fan group, and the Atheist Experience private fan group. Those are up there at facebook.com/AXPPFG for the private one. In addition to this program, the ACA also produces, Dan's show, Truth Wanted, every Friday. I don't know why, at this point, anybody.
I heard it's pretty good. I don't know.
It.
I've never seen it myself, though.
I had fun because I called in after you guys had somebody on talking about chemtrails.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you did.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I just can't. So Dan does things that I just can't. And so it's good to have him over here.
Yeah. Yeah. We get to some interesting stuff. This last Friday, we actually talked to two former Scientologists, both with very different perspectives on their time with Scientology. And the week before, like you said, we were talking about chemtrails. We were talking about all kinds of stuff. We get to some weird places on the show, but I love it. It's great. And if you like skepticism, if you like that stuff, but you want to talk more than just atheism, Truth Wanted's the place to be. So
Truth Wanted is definitely the place to be. You can watch it live on Fridays and call in, but you can also watch it after the fact as well. Yeah. And in addition to Truth Wanted and Psychosexuality and the Atheist Experience and Talk Heathen, nonprofits are back in their airing on Sundays at 3 p.m. in the gap between Talk Heathen and Atheist Experience. With new hosts, new segments, new guests. I loved watching everybody try to come together to figure out, okay, if all of the people in Austin just don't have power, don't have internet, don't have water, what are we going to do? How are we going to do shows? And like clockwork, the crew behind this show, behind all of our shows, are just absolutely the finest people I've ever met, except Puck. No, he can't hear me. He's actually screaming. Sorry. I was having fun with that.
Greg, I couldn't tell if the pizza box was in front of there on purpose or not, but
at least he's not chugging 2 liters right now. I think Greg and I share the same barber and managed to get there. So yeah, that's the crew behind the scenes that makes sure everything happens. And I want to point out that while a good chunk of them are not in the Austin area, that was essential. Like for this week's Secular Sexuality, I don't think there was anybody on or behind the scenes who was actually in Austin.
Yeah, here's a fun fact about this week. I was getting ready to do the show from Drew's house, Genetically Modified Skeptic's house, because he's got his studio in there. And while I was getting stuff ready, I accidentally broke his microphone. I snapped the cable it was already kind of messed up. It's a Blue Yeti like the one that I'm having right here. It's actually a pretty similar setup, but the cords on these aren't super great, and I messed up the internal connection on there, and I just gave them money for a new microphone. So that's fun.
Oh, man.
It's good to have friends that you can break their shit and they still like you. So,
well, I know there's an extra Blue Yeti rolling around because I loaned mine to Jenna, and then Jenna bought one. And there's other gear as well. So hopefully Drew gets a mic upgrade out of the deal. I mean, that's what should happen. You break a mic, you get a better mic.
That's the thing, because we were looking at mics, and it's like you get the Blue Yeti, you got the USB, you know, you pay like 120, 150 bucks wherever you're getting it from. But then like the next level up, it's all these like $1,000 microphones and stuff. There's not a good middle range. So if you guys, if you make microphones out there and you want to, you know, help us out at the ACA, tell us what to do. I don't know.
This is my favorite. I have a number of microphones. I've had a number of microphones over the year. This is the Bluebird by Blue, and I like it. But what you want to do a show, Dan? You want to talk to some people?
Sure, yeah. I guess that's why I'm here, right?